It's Movie Time is brought to you by the Gateway Film Center, 1550 North High Street, Columbus, Ohio. Further details and showtimes online at gatewayfilmcenter.org.
The award-winning It's Movie Time is produced by John DeSando. Listen to the shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
And I'm Linda Baas McClelland.
And this is It's Movie Time with
Time.
our new sign designed by our Linda Baas McClelland. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah.
Notice the little
The
camera
little
up here?
camera, you gotta
Oh,
clean it.
very
I
nice
had to
touch.
clean it up. It was pretty dented.
All right, let's not have too good a time here.
Okay.
Because our job is to tell our audience about a new film called Room. Now, I want to caution them. This is not the cult classic The Room.
That's right.
It plays, I think, even at the Drexel at midnight.
Right.
But this
Totally
is
different.
This is Brie Larson. Lenny Abramson is the director. Brie Larson is the notable actress and a fine young man.
Oh,
who's,
Jacob. We'll talk about him.
Yeah,
in a
and
minute.
Jake. But anyway, it's The Room. Lenny, what's this about?
Well, if you were to spend 7 years of your life locked into an 11 by 11 garden shed, who or what would you want to be in that space with you? What would you really need to live? And I found myself asking those questions after I saw this movie. The Room is where 5-year-old Jack and Ma live.
Yep.
And okay, what would you really need to live if you were in a room locked in there for 7 years? The Room is where 5-year-old Jack and Ma live, and it's told and seen through his eyes, and everything he needs is right there in that room. Jacob Tremblay plays Jack, and this young actor carries the film.
Now, Lenny, I'm going to tell you something.
Yes.
I read somebody saying he was 9 years old. Not in the film.
No.
The actor.
I think he's 8 in real life. I think he's 8, not 9.
So he's very small.
He's tiny for his age.
And he's a beautiful kid.
Oh, he is.
And you are so right. He's been in other productions, but nothing as elaborate as this. And I agree with you. He has a terrific future.
But how he plays this is so important because not all viewers are going to be comfortable with this storyline. It's very dark. And but little Jacob, playing Jack, pulls you in and almost magically makes you feel okay with this surroundings.
It's wonderful. The kid is so well adjusted.
Yeah.
And why? Because Ma is.
Exactly.
I mean, she's brilliant with them. Reminded me of you with your sons.
Oh,
And I know just a couple of other people I've known who are super mothers, but with whom, if they were stuck for 5 years with a child,
right.
this would be the only way the child could survive,
Right.
would be to have somebody as intelligent and in your case, creative. Because you illustrate books for your grandchildren, so I've seen your creativity at work and how it draws them in. And this is the very same kind of interaction
Right.
that she has with her child.
Right. But you need to know, basically, 7 years before, she was abducted and repeatedly raped by someone she calls Old Nick.
Right.
And
so they're in a shed.
Yeah, and strangely, the few times that you see Old Nick, he appears rather ordinary. But the result of this abuse, of course, is little Jack.
I think one of the challenges of this film, which may not be completely met, is that he's not an ogre enough. That we don't see enough of him
Right.
to buy into his enslaving this woman and
Right.
then his child with this woman.
Right. No, you don't see too much of that at all.
And I think you were implying he almost seems fairly normal the few times that we get to see him.
Right.
But there's no reason that people can be ogres and they can look normal.
Right. But Jack is this happy, healthy little kid, but he has just turned 5, and I think the occasional visits from Old Nick are starting to be a little more disturbing. And Jack is put to bed inside of a wardrobe. He's locked inside of a wardrobe, and because he's a little older, he's getting curious as to what is going on.
Yeah.
So we have his viewpoint looking through the slats of the doors of this wardrobe.
Yes. And there's a voiceover from his viewpoint
Right.
as well. So that's an important point, is that much of this we're learning through his eyes, which I think I want to see.
Definitely.
Because the first part of the film, the first half of the film, is in that shed. And you know what's so curious to me? It's photographed so well
Right.
that it doesn't feel like a cell.
Well, you don't get claustrophobic.
Yeah.
And I love the way Jack goes with, "Good morning, sink. Good morning, stove." Good.
Yes.
I mean, he's just so adorable.
They get light from a skylight.
Exactly. But Ma knows it's time to escape.
Yes.
And I won't describe any part of this
Okay.
movie because I do not
Although
want to spoil
the
it.
trailer, of course,
It is
shows
captivating.
you.
It is absolutely captivating.
It shows you it. But the second half of the film is, I mean, we have to disclose this, is outside.
Right.
You know,
Of course.
Yeah, and what I think is so successful in this film is that in that second part, it isn't all just so la-di-da happy.
Oh, heavens no.
It is very difficult to adjust for both of them.
Right. And of course,
The outside world.
when they first are released from the hospital after making sure that they're both healthy, it includes a predictable, I'm having trouble talking.
Go ahead, you say it includes it again.
They're having, the media is just swarming Ma and little Jack as she returns to her mother's home, which in itself is terrifying.
I think that there was a question as to how she let it go so long before the escape
Right.
attempt.
Yeah.
And I think that was a devastating question.
Right.
And
that is a good question.
yeah, you know, why after the first year or two didn't she
Didn't she
attempt?
try to get
I mean,
out?
it was just a shed.
It might have been too hard to do that with an infant.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to spoil the escape
Well, you know
scene,
what?
but
It
he
is
might
another-
have
yeah.
needed to be 5 years old.
But
So,
another thing, Lenny, that I read about somebody questioning how gullible he was at a certain point.
Old Jack, you mean?
No, old Nick.
Old Nick.
Old Nick was and
How she was trying to trick him.
yeah,
into
tricking him, and he
getting them out of
accepted
there.
a bit too easily. It was just the way it was produced.
Right.
It wasn't.
I didn't think about that when I was
Yeah,
watching.
and I didn't either until I read this, and it sparked me to think perhaps a little bit of a weakness in the production of this story, which came from Emma Donohue's novel.
Right.
And she did the screenplay.
Right, she did.
So if
she
I'm
wrote
going to
it.
complain, I can complain directly to
Complain
her.
to the author.
But I thought that was also an interesting question. Why so
Right.
long? And anyway.
It just, to me, they just seem so content. And we don't know what really went on in her past life. And,
Good, yes, it did.
and
in the
in
novel.
returning to her childhood home, she becomes more of the child. And she's trying,
great point.
she's having a hard time dealing with her past and diving into what will be her future. I think she really regresses, and, little Jack starts to come
Wonderful.
forward.
Although we get a chance to see Joan Allen as a very fine grandma.
Yes, as Joy's mother. Joy is
terrific job.
Ma's real name.
But you did allude to something that's in the novel apparently, but not here, which is the background that would shade you slightly from your complete sympathy.
Right.
And that has to do with her having an
Right.
abortion, and there are some other things in her
Oh,
life
right. Okay.
that don't make her as sympathetic
Uh-huh.
as the film does.
So maybe she needed to hide away for a while. But,
Well, you won't know it for the film, and we should, we should judge it on the film, and
Right.
not try to pull the novel in, which many people will
Exactly.
do. They're two different media.
But watching Joan Allen, who plays Jack's grandmother, and she's trying to make him adjust to the real world. Tissue alert for all grandmothers out there, because watching these tender, heartwarming scenes, it's really something to watch. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So overall, Lenny, we're at that point now.
Already?
We are already, because we've done a good job, and I'm glad that you're talking about this, because you have thought about it. And now, Lenny, you have to think the tough part for us, the realism coming out of the shed now. Lenny and Johnny have to award a grade to this. The film is Room. It stars Brie Larson. The director is Lenny Abramson, who did Frank, if you remember that very strange story, starring Michael Fassbender with the head.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh.
Anyway, what grade would you award Room?
Because little Jack brings such beautiful light to what could have been an extremely
Right.
dark and disturbing story. I gave it a B+.
Oh, I'm so disappointed because that's the grade I gave it.
Oh, Johnny.
It isn't.
What are we gonna do?
It isn't quite an A, and we've alluded to some of its weaknesses, but it very. I suspect Oscar nominations.
Yes,
For the
for,
two
for
of them.
little Jacob, because
And for Brie Larson.
at no time does he appear to be acting. He is such a natural.
Very good. Anyway, it's room. It's not as claustrophobic as you would think.
No. But open the door, Johnny. It's getting a little stuffy in here.